Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home Coffee Brewing with April. My name is Patrick Rolfe, and I'm standing right outside of Bangkok here, second time in Bangkok, outside of Tao's house. He actually competed in the April Brewers Cup here in Bangkok, which was just basically yesterday. So super excited to go in and show you how he is using the April Brewer. And he told me already that he wants to share the recipe that he actually used in the competition. So come on in and have a look. So we're on the inside, just outside of Bangkok, and we're gonna brew some coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
What are we brewing? What beans do you want to brew?
The coffee from Thai roaster, from Livid
Oh, cool.
Ethiopian wash.
Duromina. Awesome. So Duromina is actually a very famous processing station in Ethiopia.
Oh.
There's a lot of, especially coffee roasters, I know in Europe that is working with this coffee. I used to work with it a lot before I started April as well.
Oh.
It's like a very interesting, good coffee. It says here it's gonna taste like yellow plum, oolong, and jasmine, right?
Yeah.
So let's see if we can bring that out of the coffee. Quite interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I see some fellow kettles.
Yeah.
White, like we're clearly in a very well designed kitchen.
Yeah.
it looks pretty awesome here, right? And you're actually an architect.
Yeah.
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 Super cool.
For like 10 years.
For 10 years. Yeah. And what got you kind of into coffee?
First I tried to just get the caffeine from the coffee.
Yeah.
And then I taste like different coffee shop, so it tastes different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Then I try to find out why it's so like different and tasty.
Yeah.
Then I get a chance this year to go to Patrick pop-up in PD.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I was in Bangkok like a few months ago, right? And then did a pop together. And he actually competed in the April Brewers Cup as well yesterday. Obviously not yesterday for you guys when you see this video, but we're recording this the day after the April Brewers Cup in Bangkok. So I'm super excited about this. Yeah.
That's why I use two kettle at home.
So for the practice.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Super cool. Awesome. Let's get started. What are we doing water-wise? Maybe that's where we should start.
I still use the competition water.
So before competition, did you know about this water?
I learned a lot from your episode on YouTube, the home brewer. I'm from PO, I guess. The girl, she said she tried different like water and end up with this one. So I just find this one. So
okay, so that's really cool.
yeah.
So we actually then watched the previous kind of batch of videos that we did here in Bangkok, and off that we did a video with, she actually used this water. I thought it tasted so good when she was brewing, so I actually used it for the pop-up the day after our pre-D as well.
Yeah.
So we used this, and then we used this for the April Brewers Cup in Bangkok as well. Super cool. Let's get it started. So for those of you that don't know, like this is actually a really low ppm water. I think it's down to like 20, 25, if not even lower. But it seems to be extracting the coffee quite well, and it makes it really clean, which is something that I appreciate when it comes to coffees, of course, right? Cool. So we're gonna do both kettles. So
I always feel like into max to get like the same weight for the two kettle.
So like when you're pouring, you want the same amount of water.
Yeah. Like same flow rate.
That's a very good point, because depending on how, obviously here on the fellow kettles you have a flow restrictor, so it's going to be quite easy to have a similar flow rate, but the amount of water in the kettle also changes the weight of the kettle.
Yeah.
And that usually changes how people move the kettle and how much water they pour. So having the same amount of water in the kettle is a really good thing to do.
And I will use the same recipe as the competition.
That's the competition?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool, awesome.
For the first round, I try like 94 degree for the first one, for the first kettle. The second one, I use like 74.
Yeah, so a little bit lower.
Yeah, like 20 degrees lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And where did that inspiration come from, using two different temperatures?
Actually, another video in Malaysia
Okay.
that she used like room temperature water. Right? But I mean,
That's true.
to use room temperature in the competition, your coffee will be like cool down
Yeah,
super fast.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And still learning new things.
Yeah, that's super cool. So you told me before that you actually, like, you started to get really into coffee this year.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So you're like actually very new into coffee.
Yeah. Brewing.
Yeah, coffee brewing. Yeah, which is really interesting. Cool. So we have the water. What are we doing? Like scales and grinders and.
The scale I use the timer.
That's the timer, so.
Yeah. Because it's cheap. And
timer because it's cheap. I mean, valid points. It's also good,
besides,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheap and good.
The grinder I use like hand grinder 1 Cipeso K Max.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to draw in the number.
Because you have the numbers on the top.
Yeah.
I think so too. And that's something that we've seen other people do as well. Comandante is a little bit difficult sometimes on the bottom.
Yeah. But both taste good, I think.
That's true.
But I always like forget what to click.
Yeah, sure. And then you have to go down to 0 and then start again. Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah. So just a question here, because you said you kind of bought the scale because it's a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
But this is not so cheap. Like the grinder is a little bit more expensive. You could have bought a cheaper grinder.
Yeah.
So do you feel then that it's very important with grinders that you need a really good grinder, or?
Yeah, I think invest in grinder is a bit like good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. It has more value maybe to buy like a more higher quality, high end grinder than, for example, a scale. Because in the end, the scale is a scale. Like it measures the amount of work. They're definitely like better in different ways, but in the end, if they measure the water you pour on, they kind of do the trick, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the grinder has more impact on the sensory or like the taste, right? Yeah. Cool. So how much? You guys obviously don't know the recipe. I know the recipe because you were in the final and we saw the recipe for everyone. But yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So I'm dosing 20.5 grams of this coffee. Well, maybe take it out for some
like Quakers or So Ethiopian coffees especially, this is also true in other origins, but often with Ethiopia you get these kind of Quakery looking beans, which are basically, you see them quite easy because they're a bit yellowish. Basically beans that didn't get a sufficient amount of nutrients, more or less, and didn't develop properly. Sometimes that's difficult to sort out at origin, but it becomes very noticeable when you roast them. So that's basically what we took out here.
Yeah, so for the guys, I go for, I think, 8. Maybe.
8.
Yeah,
okay, so almost
for
like
the coarse,
very coarse. Yeah.
But I have to put like 12.7 to get 20.5 out.
Yeah.
As well.
You always lose a little bit, right? There's no way around that. Like there's a lot of people saying that you can get a 0 retention grinder, but it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like it really doesn't exist. You always have a little bit of dust trap or something similar. Yeah. For you, when it comes to grinders, because I noticed you have another grinder standing as well, right? Which we'll talk about later maybe. But did you always feel that you wanted a hand grinder, or did you ever try like hand grinder versus electrical grinder, or for you was it always like a hand grinder?
I think both is good because another one you get like another cup profile as well.
Yeah.
Different guider.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend bought that one for me for
Okay,
my
sure.
birthday gift. So
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
yeah, have to use it.
You have to use it, that's true. If your
Yeah.
girlfriend buys it, you have to use it. That's
Yeah.
true.
And it tastes good.
It tastes good. It's
Yeah.
also a good grinder, and I have a feeling we might see it because we're gonna do an espresso video together here as well. But let's focus on this first.
Yeah.
Cool. So we ground the coffee. We have the brewer somewhere, April Brewer.
So
server.
gonna go for the pink one.
So you have he actually has a
Yeah.
lot of colors.
Yeah. Actually, I borrow from my friend to do that.
For the competition.
For packaging.
Very nice. Yeah, of course. And you have the plastic. So why plastic and not like ceramic or glass or?
It's colorful.
It's colorful. Yeah.
Because my house is like all white.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
Yeah,
It's
need
all-
something to pop up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it design very good.
Yeah.
One piece, like
True.
smooth. Yeah.
Mm.
And April paper,
April, important.
filter paper.
Yeah, you obviously can use different paper filters. The April paper filters are the only one customized for the brewer. I think that's the main thing, right? And we actually have a new version of it, or like a second version. We're gonna have both this and another one launching at the time you see this video. Cool. So the kettles are warm with 12.5 grams of coffee. That was right. Cool.
And I always rinse it with cold water.
Always rinse with cold water.
Yeah.
Is that also something you seen on YouTube, or is that something you tested and?
I just don't want to fill up again in the
Okay,
kettle
sure.
to
Yeah.
get the same weight.
Yeah, so basically for him, it's very important to have the same weight in the kettles to be more consistent with the pouring. So even rinsing, he does with another kettle just to make sure the water levels are proper. Yeah. That's like a real kind of competition thing to do, I would say. That's something that you can see a lot of competitors do.
Yeah, because when I pour, I feel like the different.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. So cold water here, we've seen people in this kind of series rinse with a lot of different types of water. And I'm starting to see more and more that taste-wise, cold water actually works really well. Plus it seems very easy for some reason to actually get the filter to sit in really nicely in the filter. Cool, so we're shaking a little bit. Dosing, and then quite careful with putting the coffee into the filter. Yeah.
Maybe too careful.
Maybe too careful. Okay.
Yeah.
But we saw that also in the competition yesterday. There was a lot of people that were very, very careful when they dosed out the coffee in the filter, right?
Okay. 12.5.
12.5?
It's okay.
Yes.
At home.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
So a little bit shake.
To like level it out a bit?
Yeah.
Sure.
Then put the timer on.
3, 2, 1, and then we go for it, right?
Yeah. So the first one I pour like 60 in circle
Yep.
and then 40 in center.
100 total, yeah. And within 10 seconds,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
And wait for 35 seconds.
Yep. And then you go over to the lower temperature
Yeah.
pour in the end. Yeah. What do you think is that? Let's say you would do 2 pours with 94 degrees versus what you're doing now. What do you think is the main difference?
I feel like I get a bit like astringency
Yeah.
at the end.
If you have the high temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit of like astringency if it's using like a consistent high temperature. So then one can argue that the lower temperature in the second pour is to like clean up
Yeah.
the mouthfeel a
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Maybe I have to find different recipe for the same temperature.
Ah.
Like
Yeah.
just want to know how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. there is a lot you can play around with, right? And I think like obviously at home there's not everyone has two kettles, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it is a bit difficult, but I would definitely recommend to maybe look into having two kettles because it does make a big difference.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah.
For the cup, maybe okay. Just take the same one.
Yeah, same like the competition cups.
Yeah.
Which I actually kind of like. I like them like design-wise. Oh, it's an Acme cup. I didn't know. So yeah, Acme cup. I never seen this model from Acme actually. It's like a new thing. It's like a nice big mug. Yeah. I kind of like mugs. We don't have any mugs at April, but I like mugs. Yeah. It's like it feels very homey, right? And these fits really well in your kitchen also. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so total brew time?
2:30.
2:30, okay. Yeah. Oh. And it seems to be, so it's like very consistent. So is this a coffee you brewed many times at home?
I just tried this roaster before the competition.
Okay. So Livid, if we didn't say that already, so like a local roaster here in Bangkok, which is really cool. How do you usually do it when you get a new coffee? Do you have like a go-to recipe that you kind of try for all new coffees, or do you think it's a washed Ethiopian, so I'm doing it a bit different?
I think, for what I use this recipe, the one that I use for competition. Yeah. But I find that the competition coffee is very different. So it's like I haven't tried that process before. Yeah. So it's very new. So it's like no idea, and just sometimes I try like more circle pour to get more like extraction. Yeah. Like 70-30 pairing around with like in 100. Can you divide that part in the circle and in the center? Yeah, sure. Yeah, like from your recipe, right? 30-70, right? Yeah. Just try.
It makes a big difference, and I also spend a lot of time trying different ratios of the circle and the center, and sometimes I only do center, sometimes I only do circle. It depends so much on, I would call it like the natural flow rate of that coffee. Cool. So I mean, let's try it. No, let's see. I think it smells like an Ethiopian coffee, which is good. That's like step one. What do you think? I
think it's gonna be good.
Yeah. It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Just because it's just 200. I guess it's gonna be like 165 out. 80 each.
Oh yeah, that's true. So I think one of the most difficult things when you kind of start your coffee journey is always going to be kind of learning and adapting, understanding. So you basically knew exactly how much coffee the beverage trade is, which is kind of cool. It's to understand like the flavor notes. Flavor notes are very difficult. It took me a very long time in kind of my coffee journey to learn how to describe a coffee and to like identify flavors. And I think the best way to try to do that is to just taste a lot of coffee with professionals, and they will kind of tell you how it's tasting, and then you're listening, and then you kind of learn what is like jasmine in coffee, because jasmine in coffee is not like jasmine. No. Right. Then we're in infused coffees. That's a different thing, which we don't talk about here. I think this smells very floral. Like if I would say this like a floral, ever was a floral coffee, then this is for sure a floral coffee. Good cup, bad cup.
Average cup, I think.
Yeah. It's like It's like clean and well textured, right? It's floral, which is great. It has this little bit of like stone fruit quality to it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, because it's a little bit, which I think is more of a green coffee thing. It's a little bit hay-like
Yeah.
in the quality, which is not so much a brewing thing. It's more either the green coffee or the roast maybe.
Yeah.
Ethiopian coffee is not what it used to be quality-wise. It used to be better, I think.
Oh.
But super enjoyable, no?
Yeah.
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 Would you change anything in this? Like if you brewed it again, would you feel that you want to try something different, or would you feel that no, this is like really tasty?
Yeah. I want to make like the cleaner cup. Yeah, because I get like something that
A cleaner
I don't-
cup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like at the end.
Yeah, okay. It's a little bit drying in the
Yeah.
in the like very kind of bottom of the sensation. Yeah, that's true. I think that might be, it's a combination. I think it could be you can go a little bit finer to extract a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that might change that a bit. You had 12.5, you could also push it down to 12. Yeah.
Go finer.
To get a little, exactly.
Yeah.
Then you're going to extract a little bit more out of the coffee. I think in general, when you have like good coffees, you always want to extract. I think that's very, very nice, right? Another way to do it could be to grind the coffee a lot in advance.
Oh, yeah.
So you could grind like the day before,
Yeah.
for example. That could make a difference. Because sometimes when you have a little bit of a rough palate, it's just a bit of CO2 left in the coffee. And it has to just kind of rest a little bit, right? But I think in general, it's quite a tasty cup of coffee.
Thank you.
I don't mind it. I think it's actually quite enjoyable. Super. So basically to do a little bit of a summary, right? So 12.5 to 200 pretty much.
Yeah.
Low ppm bottled water sprinkle, for those of you that haven't tried it, I think it's quite interesting. 1C espresso grinder, which I always pronounce wrong, but that's what it is. Plastic brewer, and that was mainly a design choice almost, right? So it's not so much a material choice for you, it's more like you think visually it looks better. Yeah?
For me, yeah.
Which is important, and again, we're clearly in a very kind of aesthetically nice place here, so it makes a lot of sense, I think, to maybe we should send you the white plastic brewer.
Oh, thank you so much.
That could be fun,
Yeah.
no? Because
Yeah.
then it would fit the kitchen really well. Anyway, as always, thank you for having us. It's very nice. And again, we're going to do an espresso video together here as well, so you're going to see more of him.
Yeah.
Thank for all of you for watching. As always, we couldn't do this without you guys. We want to see comments, we want to see thoughts, we want to see recommendations. This is all about building a community of April brewers around the world, pretty much, and talking about it and sharing how can we all brew better coffee together, right? If you want more kind of in-depth knowledge and understanding and see where I'm going next, you can sign up for the Patreon. That's where you get all those kind of details. As always, subscribing, sharing, all of this is very helpful. So you're more than welcome to do that. And with that, I just want to say thank you for watching and wish you a good day. And thank you again for you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We want to give a special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. It's because of you that we are able to continue to make these videos. And we want you all to feel free to always come with suggestions and ideas on the content that you want to see, because we are doing this for you and because of you. Thank you from all of us here at April.